everyone, it's Raquel here, and today I'm sharing a new layout for Hip Kit Club using the September kits. The photo that I've chosen to document today is one of my little girl and my son, and this was when we were home, I think at this stage, or this might have actually been when we were in the hospital and she was meeting him for the first time, because of the clothes that she's wearing. I'm not entirely sure, and I'm going to have to go back and have a look when I do my journaling. But this is the photo. Now, I've been set the biggest challenge in the world for me, and that is to use no white for this layout. No white cardstock. So I have to have a think about either a different colour base paper, because as you might know, I love using white cardstock as my base for my layouts. So I have to think about a different colour for my base, as well as not being able to incorporate, say, white die cuts, or as in cut files or things like that. So my thoughts are is maybe having a design something like this, where I have, you know, like my pattern paper sort of sectioned into 2/3 and a third of another pattern, and then my photo maybe of a placement around here. And then what I've gathered together, so that's my embellishments, is just some of the papers that I thought would really look nice with this royal blue colour that's here. So I've just got some more of those Maggie Holmes papers. I haven't yet fussy cut these flowers out, so I thought that I could do something either side of the photo that uses those. Or there's also this beautiful floral, which I thought would look really, really sweet, fussy cut out. And then as a title, I do have quite a number of these left that I could use as a title for the page. That loved would be perfect. And then there's lots of little embellishments. So yes, I have a big challenge ahead of me, but I'll take it up and I'll try and create a page using these kits without any white. So let's see how I go. Okay, so my layout has taken a completely different route off camera. So what I actually did was I grabbed out this green piece of paper here, and I just started to lay some of the embellishments that I'd gathered to the side here on the layout in a bit of a diagonal fashion. And then I grabbed the piece of fringed paper that I'd already cut out to use on what I thought was going to be the backgrounds that use these two papers, and I've popped that there, so I've got that pop of the pink and the peach in the layout, and then I've popped that contrasting mustardy colour there to bring out the colours within the floral. So I've sort of got this diagonal design, but it's sort of grounded on this vertical strip to the left of the page here. I've used this Best Day ephemera piece, this Hello, which is that one that has sort of the acetate in there, and then this Sweet from the chipboard pack. And all I sort of did, and it's not exactly how I might want it to be on the layout, but I just started laying everything down, and as I was laying it down, I was sort of liking how it was looking and thinking that maybe I changed my design idea. And this is sort of where I'm at the moment. So I've moved and flipped the design, I guess, where I'm not working this way now, which could work as well, but I'm working this way. I feel like I know that I would probably prefer this layout if it was grounded on a white background, because I feel like everything would pop that little bit more, but I'm working with my challenge and I'm going to persevere with it. I think that I'll be able to add a few other accents, and I was wondering whether I could even add another accent sort of strip here, maybe even some of this Simple Stories washi to sort of border between those two there. We'll see. So I have plenty of embellishments that I can still, as I said before, add to the page. I'm thinking this might be how I leave it in terms of a basic design, but obviously I'll build on some layering and probably add some other bits and pieces behind. This here would look gorgeous on here, but I don't quite know where that will go, but I really like that. It says Happy Place. It's got a bit of an accent of gold on it, and then it's got the pink. So I think I'm just going to have a bit of a play and see how I go. I am not sure. This is a challenge. This is a tough task for me right now, to be thinking and creating in a way that isn't comfortable for me. But I'm gonna do this. I'm determined. Okay, so I decided to gather a few extra embellishments. So those Pink Fresh Studio Indigo Hills chipboard hearts work beautifully with this colour palette, but the colour hearts that I'm choosing are more the green and pink accented ones, which are really, really sweet, and they complement the rest of the colours in the layout really well. I decided that I needed a layer around my photo just to help it stand out that little bit more. So I gathered I gathered some Gather pattern paper, and it was the one that has that leather look on one side and the birds in that pink base on the other side. I can't remember the actual name of that paper, but that's how the description of it. And I've just cut out a mat, and it's only a real slight mat around the photo. Now that photo isn't a typical 4x4. I think it's actually, I printed it at home, so it could even be a 5.5 inch. I think it's just a bit bigger than 5x5 inches. And I printed it actually for another project and then decided to use it on this one. So it's a square, just an Instagram print. And now what I'm doing is I decided to add some extra floral, and they aren't going to be a real statement floral like the other die cut ephemera pieces, but they're more just going to add some more detail and layers, but they're sort of going to not blend into the background more, but I'm not going to pop them up with foam or do anything like that to them. I'm just going to layer them under some of the ephemera pieces and other layered embellishments. I've also cut a strip of gold paper, which I want to pop between that yellow mustardy paper and the fringed paper on the left side. So you can see it's just sort of there randomly at the moment, but I'm just about now to adhere that down. And I do that just with just my adhesive runner, and then I'm going to adhere the fringe on top of that, and I leave a bit over 1 centimetre showing of that fringe. I didn't want it to be a really chunky fringe piece. I just wanted it to add a nice little detail to that strip down that left side. So I'm just adhering that down, and then what I will do, I will machine stitch along there just to add a little bit of extra detail. and I'm using just some foam sheet just to add a pop around my photo and give it that little bit of an extra layer and bit of extra detail and dimension. And now I'm just going to start working out and adhering my embellishments, whether they're my ephemera pieces or my fussy cut out flowers, around that photo. So I sort of had the placement earlier of round about where I wanted things to be placed. Nothing was obviously set in stone because nothing was adhered down, so I've got a bit of freedom to move things around and get everything fitting and in a way that I like now, because I'm adhering towards the end. So you can see that fussy cut flower that I was talking about. I just sort of placed one of them under the photo, just around near where that hello ephemera piece is, and it's not standing out too much, but it's just adding a nice extra little floral touch. What I do sometimes on my pages is I will add some foam adhesive just on certain areas of my ephemera. So I did that just only on the top right corner of that orange ephemera ticket to the right of the photo, and I did that just to make that have a little bit of dimension, but I didn't want the whole thing to pop off and be the same height as my photo. So just that little bit on the top corner. I suppose it's like folding the edges up, except when it's in an album it can flatten. So by putting the foam adhesive there, it won't flatten in the album because the foam adhesive is there in its place instead of just folding it. And if you're interested, I do have a couple of classes over at Big Picture Classes. So my first one is all about subtle details, and I haven't really talked about them before, but they've been really, really well received. So subtle details is just about adding things like some texture to a page that's subtle, obviously, or some machine stitching, just things to add extra detail and finishing touches to your layouts. And the second class, which fits in with sort of what we're doing here, or what I'm doing here, is about layering, and it's called Lovely Layers, and there's lots of I think there's 5 lessons with 5 videos, as well as some technique videos and walkthroughs. So if you haven't checked out my classes yet, I'd love if you did, and leave me some feedback and let me know what you think. I'm currently in the process of creating my 3rd class, which I'm really excited to share about soon. Anyway, so back to the layout. I'm just finishing up by adhering down the chipboard pieces, some of the ephemera. The floral ones there, I'm actually folding over the foam adhesive so that it's got a double pop or double layer of dimension, and that's so that really stands out. I decided to add a cute little hashtag to the front of that hello, just because I could and because it was in that chipboard pack and I thought that it worked well. I do use one piece from the Crepe Paper Cute Girl chipboard sheet, and that one says "When you wish upon a star," and I've sort of placed that and run that along the tassel and underneath that sweet word. So that's just something different or a different way to adhere those tassels, and you can see there from this slow sneak that I'm giving you of the close-up of the layout that I've also popped at the top of that tassel a little heart. So here's some close-ups, and I thank you again for watching if you've made it this far, and I hope that you feel I've done this challenge justice with the no white, and I'll be back really soon with some more shares. Bye everyone.